glad to have you join us on today's edition of Aso Briefing. I am Richard and federal government seeks public input on national policing bill unveils 7-week roadmap for state police framework. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike vows to award only fully funded projects. And on business, NEPC Union reaffirms trust in leadership, debunks forced strike report. You're watching Aso Briefing. Don't forget that you can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, StarTimes TV channel 127, and on Free TV, look us up on channel 507. On the UHF band, you can find us on channel 38. This is also streaming live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Now we'll go ahead with the details of all our stories. The federal government has invited Nigerians to submit memoranda and policy proposals on a proposed national policing bill as part of efforts to establish a comprehensive legal and operational framework for state policing across the country. The invitation was announced on Monday by the Chief of Staff to the President and Chairman of the Presidential Working Group on the National Policing Bill, Femi Gbajabiamila, after the group's meeting at the State House in Abuja. According to a statement posted on the official X handle of the Special Advisor to the President on Information Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the working group is reviewing the Police Act 2020, the Police Service Commission framework, police regulations, and other relevant laws to support the development of an effective and modern policing system. Bagabiamila said the proposed framework would establish national minimum standards for policing, define state readiness and certification requirements, clarify jurisdictional responsibilities, provide for independent oversight, protect human rights, ensure sustainable funding, and set out an orderly transition to a dual policing structure. He announced that the call for memoranda will remain open for 2 weeks to enable citizens, civil society organizations, security agencies, professional bodies, academics, state and local governments, and other stakeholders to make contributions. According to him, all submissions will be reviewed and incorporated into the draft bill before it undergoes further national consultations ahead of its transmission to the National Assembly. The working group also adopted a 7-week work plan running from 27th to 14th of September 2026, with the draft executive bill scheduled to be presented to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on September 3rd before wider national consultations and final approval. The National Economic Council (NEC) has approved the refinancing of the $3.3 billion Project Gazelle pre-export finance facility through a new $4.5 billion arrangement known as Project Gazelle 2. The new facility will enable the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited to refinance the outsourcing balance of about $1.5 billion from the original 2023 agreement while unlocking an additional $3 billion in liquidity. The approval was granted at the 159th virtual meeting of the Council held on Monday. According to the NEC, the additional funds will help strengthen Nigeria's external reserves and support the federal government's fiscal and infrastructure development priorities. According to a statement issued by Stanley Kocha, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, the decision followed a presentation by the Minister of Finance, Dr. Taiwo Oyedele, which was delivered by Vice President Kashim Shettima, who chaired the meeting. The council members highlighted the importance of the initiative in improving liquidity for the Federation and pledged their support for its implementation. Briefing journalists after the meeting, Dr. Oyedele explained that the refinancing package offers more favorable terms than the original facility. He said the volume of crude oil pledged under the agreement has been reduced from 90,000 barrels per day to about 78,750 barrels per day, representing a 12.5% decrease and releasing an additional 11,250 barrels per day to the Federation. In his opening remarks, Vice President Shettima reaffirmed the need for a responsive and data-driven social protection system to address multidimensional poverty in the country. He urged members of the council to ensure that government policies reflect the need of citizens and demonstrate competence, compassion, and commitments to improving the welfare of Nigerians. Similarly, Vice President Kashim Shettima on Monday okayed the healthy cycle of competition among the 36 states of the Federation, saying it is necessary to actualize Nigeria's quest for prosperity, economic growth, human dignity, and job opportunities. This, he said, is evident in the quality and ambition of investment summits organized by the states across the country, emphasizing that the nation's strength lies in the proactive economic awakening of its subnational governments rather than just the government at the center. VP Shetima, who disclosed this in Asaba, the Delta State capital, during the State's Economic and Investment Summit 2026, reiterated the need for states to transition from basic asset documentation to practical execution and job creation. The Vice President stated that the cycle of competition among states as well as the attendant Economic and Investment Summit stems from the strong economic foundation laid by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which has increased federal allocations for local development. VP Shetima recalled the promise made by the Tinubu administration to place the nation on the path of growth, noting that it increased federal allocations for local development. VP Shetima recalled the promise made by the Tinubu administration to place the nation on the path of growth, noting that it is the reason each meeting had become another platform for turning that promise into enterprise. Now to the FCT, the Minister of the Federal platform for turning that promise into enterprise. Now to the FCT, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has said that he will not be pressured into awarding contracts without guaranteed funding, stressing that project completion remains more important than the number of contracts awarded. Barrister Wike stated this during a media chat on Tuesday, where he explained that his administration will prioritize projects that have available funds for execution rather than embarking on programs that could become abandoned. The minister said awarding contracts was not the challenge, but ensuring that such projects receive adequate funding and are completed. According to him, awarding contract is easy, but cash backing, it is another thing entirely. Barrister Wike said he was not interested in awarding projects merely to create the impression of activity, insisting that every contract approved under his watch must have a realistic funding plan. The former Rivers State governor noted that the effectiveness of an administration should not be measured by the volume of contracts awarded, but by the number of projects successfully delivered. Still talking on the issue of the minister, the Federal Capital Territory Administration is set to begin the transformation of the abandoned life camp recreation park into a modern leisure and sporting hub as part of efforts to improve recreational facilities for residents. The initiative follows the successful first lift of the Abuja City Gate, which recently earned the FCT administration a commendation from the office of the First Lady under the Renewed Hope initiative. FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike, who spoke after inspecting the facility, said,
"It's unfortunate that government have come, government have gone, nobody have thought about this place. Let me commend the First Lady, and that is what we're talking about, filling the gap, of reminding us of keeping areas where people will leave their homes, of reminding us of keeping areas where people will leave their homes, communities, and come to relax. So what we intend to do here now is to bring it back, give the modern facilities, so that people can live within this area can come here and carry out their daily sporting activities, recreation lives, relax, taking pictures, and do other things like the way it is done in well-advanced countries. So I've directed the Executive Secretary, FCDA, to invite Jonas Berger so that let them come here and give us what we think is most befitting for a city like Abuja. We're going to treat this as an emergency. We're going to treat it as an emergency. It will not go to the normal, going to be on an emergency issue, because I believe we'll plead with them if they can give us what we want in 1 year's time, to see that the people of Abuja life camp living here will not go back to say, oh, we want to travel to some place. Now let me tell you what we intend to do now with the city gate, just like what happens all over the world to some place. Now let me tell you what we intend to do now with the city gate, just like what happens all over the world. You know, ushering the new year, so many countries of the world, the cities, with with what they call fireworks, where citizens stupid in commemoration of going into the new year. That's what we intend to do this year in the city gate, where the First Lady, by the grace of God, digital initiative, will also, for the first time in this country, we will do the same thing like it's done in other developed countries. Here is so beautiful. Look at the topography. See what we are missing, and that's why citizens complain. This is what citizens want: good life, but not too much. And the administration of Parliament is desirous of giving back hope to our people who have lost hope.
The chairman of Gwagwalada Area Council, Comrade Kasim Mohammed Ikwa, has officially forwarded a list of 15 political appointment nominees to the legislative arm for screening and confirmation. The chairman's chief of staff, Honorable Abdullahi Yunusa Abuja, led the chairman's delegation to present the list at the council's legislative chambers. Correspondent Abdullahi Mukhtar tells us more.
The House commenced its sitting with opening prayers and the national anthem, followed by the adoption of the day's agenda read by the clerk of the House. Topping the agenda was a communication from the council chairman, Comrade Kasim Mohammed Ikwa, conveying the names of the political appointment nominees. Presenting the list, the chairman's chief of staff, Honorable Abdullahi Yunusa Abuja, said the submission was in line with the constitutional process, requiring the legislative arm to screen and confirm the nominees.
The able executive chairman of Gwagwalada Council nominated members of Gwagwalada Council, Executive Council. By the special grace of God, why we're here is to submit the names of the nominees for screening and confirmation.
Honorable Yunusa expressed confidence in the
submit the names of the nominees for screening and confirmation.
Honorable Yunusa expressed confidence in the nominees, describing them as competent and experienced individuals who are ready to contribute to the development of Gwagwalada Area Council.
Those nominated are competent hands. We didn't just go to air or market to nominate those nominated. They are capable hands. They are skilled in various fields. And by the special grace of God, our expectation is for them to bring value, to add value, positive value to Gwagwalada Council.
Receiving the list, the Speaker of the Gwagwalada Legislative Council, Honorable Adamu Ishaku Kangiwa, assured the chairman that the House will give the nominees accelerated consideration to ensure the screening and confirmation process is concluded without delay.
The list has been received officially for further action by the Speaker and the members of the legislative arm of Gwagwalada Area Council.
The nominees are expected to appear before the House for screening and confirmation, with their inauguration likely to take place later this week. Members of the chairman's delegation included the liaison officer, Honorable Dambaba Salihu, the chief protocol officer, Honorable Salihu Adamu, the chief technical assistant, Samaila Suleiman, and the chief press secretary, Mustafa Yakubu. Abdullahi Mukhtar, Aso Television News.
Now, when Aso Briefing returns, we have more stories for you. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Glad to have you back. Now let's move ahead with the rest of the bulletin. The Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, has directed vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts across the country to dismiss any student found culpable after due investigation of involvement in kidnapping or related criminal activities. To dismiss any student found culpable after due investigation of involvement in kidnapping or related criminal activities. He also instructed heads of tertiary institutions to strengthen intelligence gathering and collaborate closely with security agencies to enhance campus safety. The minister gave the directive during a meeting with the governing council and management of the Federal University of Lafia, Nasarawa State, where discussions focused on campus security, infrastructure development, student welfare, and ongoing reforms in higher education. Dr. Alausa noted that while Nigeria's universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education remain largely safe, recent incidents involving students outside campuses highlight the need for stronger intelligence systems and closer cooperation with the Department of State Services and other security agencies. He disclosed that he recently met with the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired, to develop a coordinated strategy aimed at strengthening the Safe Schools initiative and improving the protection of learners nationwide. The minister reaffirmed the federal government's position that no government institution should negotiate with or pay ransom to kidnappers, warning that such actions only encourage criminal activities and undermine national security efforts. Dr. Alausa, such actions only encourage criminal activities and undermine national security efforts. Dr. Alausa also announced that the federal government, through TED Fund's 2027 intervention program, will support security enhancement projects in tertiary institutions, including perimeter fencing and other critical security infrastructure, as part of efforts to ensure safer learning environments across the country. The All Progressives Congress, the APC, has declared its determination to defeat the incumbent Osun State. The All Progressives Congress, the APC, has declared its determination to defeat the incumbent Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke in the forthcoming governorship election and secure victory for its candidate Bola Oyebamiji. The chairman of the National Campaign Council for the Osun State governorship election and chairman Progressive Governors Forum, as well as Governor of Imo State Hope Uzodinma, stated this at the inaugural meeting of the members of the Campaign Council in Abuja. Topsy Gimba has the details.
The meeting was held at the Kano Governors Lodge in Abuja, was convened by the National Campaign Council chaired by Imo State Governor and chairman of the APC Governors Forum, Senator Hope Uzodinma, with Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jibril Barau, serving as secretary. Addressing members of the council, Uzodinma said the primary objective of the campaign structure was to mobilize support and deploy all necessary strategies to ensure that APC wins the Osun governorship election.
Like you must have known, that all of us here belong to one subcommittee or the other, to officially mandate all the subcommittees to meet as soon as possible between now and Thursday and bring up ideas and services they think they can render to ensure that our task is made easy. And what is their task? To win the governorship election in Osun State. Any other thing will be left till after the elections. But the most important thing are things that will make us win the election properly.
The secretary for the National Campaign Council for the Osun.
But the most important thing are things that will make us win the election properly.
The secretary for the National Campaign Council for the Osun State governorship elections, Senator Jibril Barau, has urged members of the campaign council to work hard to ensure the APC governorship candidate is elected.
Otherwise, he has driven home why we are here directly, and I'm sure it's well comprehended, understood.
He said the committees were expected to submit their resolutions and proposals to the National Secretary of the Council, including areas where they will require assistance from the Central Working Committee. The meeting was attended by members of the National Campaign Council, constituted to coordinate the APC's campaign for the Osun governorship election on the 15th of this month. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Aso Television News.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the Adeleke Campaign Council, Comrade Pelumi Olajengbesi, has called on the relevant stakeholders to ensure the rights of people in the state are protected. Comrade Balumi made the appeal while submitting a letter of the displeasure to the Human Rights Commission in Abuja. Topsy again Gimba has the details.
Said he decided to visit the Human Rights Commission to ensure relevant stakeholders involved in the election to maintain neutrality.
Mentioning his name, this order was just obtained because the magistrate and the court made itself available for such kind of judicial rascality. We are saying, God forbid, that this kind of attitude should continue in this country. We are therefore calling on the Inspector General of Police to do the right thing. We were rightfully informed that after the Commissioner of Police of Osun State was transferred out of the state, that the Inspector General of Police was threatened that he must restate the Commissioner of Police or lose his job. Interestingly, the Commissioner of Police of Osun State was restated immediately. What kind of country is this? What kind of country is this? What kind of politics is this? We are therefore calling on the Inspector General of Police to ensure that Osun State election is free and fair. We have placed before the National Human Rights Commission and we expect that the agency will act on this immediately. Thank you very much.
He presented the petition to the chairman of the commission as a sign of disapproval of what's happening in Osun State. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Aso Television News.
The Nigerian Police Force says it has made a major breakthrough in the investigation into the killing of Emmanuel Uwaneyimya, a former chairman and land agent of Ikemnando community in Anambra State. Acting on directive of Inspector General of Police IGP Olatunji Rilwan Disu, the Force Intelligence Department Special Tactical Squad STS arrested 5 suspects allegedly linked to the murder. Police said investigations revealed that a restricted veterinary sedative identified as SPL ketamine hydrochloride 500 milligram stroke 10 milligram was allegedly used in the killing. Detectives also uncovered evidence suggesting the crime was connected to a long-running dispute over the management of proceeds from the sale of community land. According to investigators, disagreement arose after part of the land sale proceeds were earmarked for the construction of a community hall and other development projects. Police said the dispute led to threats and intimidation against community leaders who supported the decision, with Emmanuel allegedly becoming one of the targets. The STS alleged that the suspect lured Emmanuel to a meeting under the pretext of discussing a land purchase. He was reportedly overpowered, restrained, and injected several times with a sedative before being forced to surrender access to his mobile phone and banking applications. Police said the victim's wife's statement, combined with digital evidence and intelligence analysis, helped investigators trace the suspects. Speaking in Abuja, STS Coordinator ACP Victor Godfrey described the arrest. In Abuja, STS Coordinator ACP Victor Godfrey described the arrest as a success for intelligence-led policing and called for tighter regulation of restricted veterinary-led policing and called for tighter regulation of restricted veterinary drugs. The Nigerian Police Force said investigations are continuing to identify all those allegedly involved in the conspiracy, while stressing that all suspects remain presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The joint civil society organizations has urged the National Assembly to reject bills currently before it that looked repressive or compel social media operators to have their physical offices in the country. The convener of the joint press conference, Comrade Anwar Rafsanjani, gave the advice in Abuja. Topsy Gimba has the details.
Comrade Anwar Rafsanjani urged National Assembly to reject these repressive bills in their entirety and instead legislation that protects civil space, strengthens transparency and accountability, promotes meaningful public participation and reinforces the constitutional and democratic values on which Nigeria's future depends. Comrade Rafsanjani said that they, the undersigned Nigerian, African and international human rights organizations and civil society organizations are gravely concerned by the growing number of restrictive and repressive bills currently before Nigeria's National Assembly.
Nigeria has repeatedly reaffirmed its commitment before the African Union, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, the United Nations, and other international bodies to uphold democracy, human rights, and rule of law. The National Assembly, therefore, has a constitutional duty to ensure that civil society organizations are not weakened, but rather supported to ensure that the civil space is protected.
He said the timing of these proposals is particularly concerning as Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections, that the measures risk entrenching fear, self-censorship, and intolerance of dissent in the country.
We are also calling on the National Assembly to conduct genuine, transparent, and meaningful consultations with the civil society organizations, journalists, human rights defenders, professional associations, digital rights organizations, development partners, and other affected stakeholders before adopting reforms affecting civic freedoms.
Which requires states to facilitate further than control the work of association. It is also inconsistent with the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, Recommendation 8, which require measures affecting non-profit organizations to be targeted, risk-based, and proportionate, and reject blanket regulatory approaches.
These provisions establish a sweeping, duplicative, and disproportionate framework that threatens civil society independence, discourages legitimate international cooperation and humanitarian assistance.
Topsy Gimba, reporting for Aso Television News.
The management of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NAPC, has debunked misinformation circulating in some sections of the online media alleging a planned strike action by NAPC staff, urging the exporting community and the general public that there is no planned or contemplated industrial action within the council. A statement signed by the general public that there is no planned or contemplated industrial action within the council. A statement signed by the head of corporate communications to the NAPC, Mr. Liu Saidu Sadiq, disclosed that the purported strike action is false, baseless, and should be disregarded by the general public. This is following a joint meeting held with the leadership of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, NAPC unit. Speaking, the union chairman, Comrade Moruf Ogunlana, reaffirmed that the council continues to enjoy industrial harmony and that neither the union chairman, Comrade Moruf Ogunlana, reaffirmed that the council continues to enjoy industrial harmony and that neither the union nor its members were consulted on any purported strike action as alleged. Comrade Ogunlana further noted that the executive director members were consulted on any purported strike action as alleged. Comrade Ogunlana further noted that the executive director of the council, Mrs. Noyanyenyi, has consistently demonstrated fairness, professionalism, and inclusiveness, treating all employees equitably regardless of tribe or background. And that does it all on Aso Briefing for today. Many thanks for watching. I am Richard Alechinwanyebe.